What's up, dudes? It's the Vigorous Q&A again. We had a lot of things to go through because there were like 20 questions in the private member Q&A segment. So first, a couple announcements. The eBooks are still on discount until the end of the month. So you have, let's say, 1.5 weeks left to get all of the eBooks on 25% discount. And after that, I'll take them for offline forever. I would like it if you guys report an Instagram account for me. It's called 6RRO _ I've linked it down below. I've been blocked. They're using my pictures illegally to promote various products. So please do me a solid to report those pictures for misrepresentation or whatever method you can put in place to report it, because I can no longer do that because they blocked me on Instagram, and I do not endorse any of these products or this company myself. I've finished the Trenbolone deep dive. That will be up sometime next week, fingers crossed. I think I got 50 minutes in, and then the last 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes or so, I recorded this morning. So that will be hopefully completed sometime next week, and otherwise on Monday, because the views on Monday are always the greatest, Monday the 29th. After that, I'll do the DHB deep dive, the dihydroboldenone, because there's not so much scientific evidence. So that video will be nice and short. And what else did I need to discuss? Oh yeah, would you guys be interested in seeing some training videos? Now that I'm back on the sauce, might as well go to the gym and start recording some workouts, right? Let me know if you guys would be interested. Then maybe next week I can record a workout and see how that goes with the views. And if there's more interest, that would be very easy content for me to make. Because those deep dives, it's a lot of work. You guys probably have no idea, but it's so much work. It's multiple days of recording, because some of these words are unpronounceable, so you stumble over your words and then you have to kind of re-say the same sentence again. And it's a lot of work to go through the literature and prepare for. And I've done all the easy ones already, besides dihydroboldenone. I think it's, 200 studies for Proviron, and then 500 for Dianabol and Winstrol, and Anadrol is like, I don't know, over 1,000, and testosterone, or Anadrol is 3,000. So I have to be a little bit more selective. So guys, give me the opportunity to make some easy content. All right, let's get into the questions. Mr. Bean, would 50 milligrams Anadrol 2 hours pre-workout twice a week on hard days be a benefit, or does it need the time to build up? No, it has non-genomic responses, so you might get an acute effect. And this has been done by the bodybuilding community many a time, and I think we answered the exact same question last week, that I do think it's a good idea. And with the right liver support, could this be sustainable for longer periods of time? Yes, I think if you run TUDCA and acetylcysteine, vitamin E, a good amount of fiber coming from your diet, then 50 milligrams Anadrol twice per week sublingually, before the heavy training days is a very sustainable way, right? And if you start losing your appetite, then I would suggest you to discontinue the Anadrol for 4, 6, 8 weeks until your appetite returns, because, well, you can only train so hard if you're not able to eat properly. Benjamin, welcome to the Vigorous crew. What's up? Super chat from Star Piercer. Recently came across the study on blood pressure in the gym that has been concerned about the risk for rupturing undiagnosed aneurysms while lifting. Any tips on how to check for one? Is an MRI enough? Yeah, that's a little bit older study, and I believe that Man Medicine just made a 40-minute deep dive about this study, about blood pressure going up in the gym quite substantially through. It was diagnosed with a cannula in one of the arteries. And yeah, the blood pressure goes up quite dramatically. So you could risk rupturing an undiagnosed aneurysm. And I think the only thing you can do to diagnose that is a full body MRI. And if you live in the United States, the Prenuvo is probably the best way to determine what's going on in your body. But I'm not entirely sure if it could diagnose an undiagnosed, previously undiagnosed aneurysm, if the machinery is, sufficient or detailed enough to see little micro aneurysms. So, because it would be very, very small. So I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, having some blood pressure management in place, whether that's Cialis, telmisartan, carditone, a beetroot extract, magnesium, right? It's always advised. And the best thing you can do not to rupture aneurysms while working out is not holding your breath, so you don't get tension headaches, and doing those grunts like I always do, which is evidence-based. Grunting is highly anabolic, and it prevents tension headaches. So I'll link that one down below. All right. I'll go to the next question. Yeah, we're going to go fast, guys. Evolutionary performance. Have you heard of Melanotan 2 claiming calcium score reduction, also best dose for its general purpose? I'm pale as you, Armenian skin, white as fuck. Okay, so it's same as me, but I'm quarter Ukrainian, and I have to work for the fitness industry, so I barely go outside. Plus, it's fucking hot in Thailand, so give me a break. I have not heard this, that Melanotan 2 can reduce calcium score, which sounds promising. Maybe it's from the flushing, the flushing effect that you get from melanotan 2, right? The blood dilating effects or the vasodilating effects. I'll have to do some research on it, but melanotan 2 is a little bit low on the priority list of doing research, to be honest. And the best dose for tanning is, you have a loading phase, right? 1 milligram before you start tanning, and then you can sustain that with 0.5 milligram or 0.1 milligram, depending on how tanned you are and how tanned you want to be. So a loading phase, 1 milligram sub-Q, and then you go out for a day of tanning, and maybe use some tanning lotion, but staying in the shades, no direct sunlight, and moving around a lot, maybe playing some water polo or something like that. So yeah, they're just the cookie cutter protocols. Those seem to work, but as you can see for me, yeah, I am not that well versed when it comes to melanotan 2. All right, member questions. Ray Dari asks, hey Steve, here are my questions. 1, can I stack Anadrol and Trenbolone together? Yes, you can, but you need a testosterone base. What is the cycle for testosterone undecanoate injections? There's no need for a cycle if you consider that hormone replacement therapy. What's the ideal stack for grappling athletes? And I saw another question about MMA, so I think it's time to make a video maybe next week or the week after about MMA and grappling performance-enhancing drug stacks. So stay tuned for that, so we don't have to waste too much time on the Vigorous Q&A on that. Jason Works asks, my question is about injectable Alcoholics Anonymous pre-workout. Is the route of administration via intramuscular or intravenous dosage for Mass Monster or Stampede? Thank you. I would do intramuscularly in the muscle that you're going to train, 0.5 cc, 1 cc of either Mass Monster or Stampede, or in combination. They seem to blend very well together. So if you're going to train chest, let's say an hour or 30 minutes before, you put 1 cc, 1 cc, whether that's a cc of Stampede or cc of Mass Monster, or mixed together, right? You have to choose Stampede, Stampede, or Mass Monster, or Stampede plus Mass Monster and Stampede plus Mass Monster, 0.5 cc each, right? So you have a total of 2 cc's. And then your pumps will be insane. J-Rod asks, hey Steve, I just got my semen analysis results back. I've been on 25 milligrams Clomid and 1,000 IU's HCG 3 times a week. My parameters actually got worse. Well, it's not like I didn't warn you guys. My total count was 16 million compared to 30 million 3 months ago. The only thing that improved was morphology from 0% to 1%. Any advice? Come off the Clomid, because HCG is sending a negative feedback to the HPTA, and Clomid might not be as effective to increase luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Take the Clomid out, because again, clotting risks and reduction of IGF-1, and you need IGF-1 for proper spermatogenesis. So I would do 1,000 IU's HCG 3 times per week and 75 IU's FSH every single day. And then since your morphology is so low, it could be that you're under tremendous oxidative stress. So I would start looking into antioxidants. And I documented all of those in the semen parameter videos. Let me link that one. I think it's like Super Semen video. Fertile on cycle. It's one of the fertility videos, but I'm not sure which one. I have so many. Can't find it. All right, you're gonna have to do some searching on the channel yourself. But there is a super antioxidant fertility stack in one of those videos. But off the top of my head, it's injectable glutathione, 600 milligrams to 1800 milligrams once to 3 times weekly. I know it's a bit of a range, but I don't know how much oxidative stress you're under yourself currently. Vitamin C multiple times per day, ubiquinol multiple times per day, vitamin E 400 IU's in the morning, selenium, taurine, very good for testicular function. So start looking into those supplements, which I documented in some of the videos, and get busy and replace the Clomid for FSH. Bronson, fight generation. asks, what do you think about Sam Sulek? 260 lean on the bulk is insane for somebody who's just turned 22. I think a lot of people forget how big Jay Cutler and some of the other teenage bodybuilders were that were already winning shows at age 22. The reason why Sam Sulek is popular is because he's relatable and he's got a good personality. This is what makes him popular, right? I mean, Jay Cutler had zero personality in the beginning. Lee Priest had great personality. I mean, look at Lee Priest when he was 22. I mean, he would destroy Sam Sulek, right? But back then they didn't have social media, so they relied on the magazines and word of mouth. And so I think that Lee Priest, if he were to go on social media, if he was 22 right now and he were to go on social media, he would blow past Sam Sulek in a fucking heartbeat, right? Because he's even way more likable, even way more funny. And I think Sam Sulek is figuring it out. I hope that he gets some good guidance. I hope that he listens to the advice that he might get from Fouad Abiad's team. I know Ben Chow is, the athletes manager of Hostile Supplements. And Ben Chow has a lot of coaching experience, and he seems to be pretty in tune. I mean, he's doing a good job with the IFBB pros. So if Sam Sulek is willing to listen to some of his advice, or maybe subscribes to this YouTube channel so he can keep himself healthy and do smart protocols, then I think Sam Sulek can go very, very, very far. But I just watched a posing video between Sam Sulek and Jared Feather. And, well, Jared Feather is, well, I mean, Sam Sulek, you can clearly see the gaps from a bodybuilding perspective, right? His legs have no separation. The thickness isn't there yet. That being said, he looks 10 times better than I did when I was 22. But there's a lot of room for improvement. That being said, I would love to have his follower count, but not that level of fame, because I don't think that kid can go anywhere. And everybody's talking about the guy, including myself. Duster DK asks, hey Steve, my SHBG has always been elevated because of my type 1 diabetes and thyroid medication. SHBG is 123 nanomoles per liter. Yeah, that's pretty fucking high. How much Proviron daily to get SHBG near the reference range? And will 2.5 milligrams Anavar every day do anything to lower SHBG? Since you're not producing any insulin, I'm assuming you're taking exogenous insulin, you might be able to reduce your exogenous insulin by going on testosterone replacement therapy. And testosterone replacement therapy, because testosterone replacement therapy improves insulin sensitivity, although it's only been investigated in type 2 diabetes, not type 1 diabetes, as far as I can remember. Do some additional research. And testosterone daily microadministrations of, let's say, 15 to 25 milligrams, should reduce your SHBG levels quite a bit. If that's not sufficient, or you don't want to inject, besides the insulin that you're already injecting, assuming you're injecting insulin, Proviron 6.25 milligrams once or twice daily might be enough to offset the SHBG, free up enough testosterone and not suppress the HPTA, because Proviron also lowers estradiol levels. And even though more testosterone frees up, it doesn't really convert into estradiol, because Proviron also inhibits the aromatase enzyme. So it inhibits the SHBG and the aromatase enzymes. Testosterone goes up, estradiol comes down, and there's no negative feedback on the HPTA in some individuals, but not all individuals. And you might be able to accomplish the same thing with 2.5 milligrams Anavar, but if the sole idea is to bring SHBG down, then I would do Proviron. Yeah, then I would do Proviron. But testosterone replacement therapy will probably bring your SHBG and libido, SHBG down and libido up. Filippo's Jim asks, hey Steve, what do you think about Melanotan 2, the study situation regarding cancer? Do you have any? No, so I didn't really research Melanotan 2 so much, and I just discussed it a little bit earlier. So follow the timestamps when Alvaro J D is done with them. Computer Man asks, hello Steve, I watched your endurance deep dive series, and wow, thanks for putting out all of that work. Let's see, where is it? There. I want to ask about Gorilla Mind Sprint product you mentioned. Do you think it will ever be made? No. I proposed it to Derek with the ingredients, and that was just a joke, using all of the adaptogens and the antioxidants and my idea of over-the-counter supplements to improve endurance. And Derek said, well, that's too many ingredients and it probably is too expensive and I don't think it will sell. So that's off the menu, but you can, write down the supplements that you find interesting, buy them yourself, and then start mixing and matching together. Or you buy them somewhere at like True Nutrition or Bulk Supplements, who just provide raw ingredients. And then you get one of your old whey protein bottles. You start mixing that together. This is how I used my own pre-workout back in the day. You get all the raw ingredients without the magnesium stearate and the binders and all the preservatives and whatever else. Just raw powders, right? You mix it all together. You shake it up vigorously, and then you'll have to kind of measure and do some calculations on Excel. Measure how heavy each scoop needs to be for you to get the ratio that you made your pre-workout or your endurance workout with, right? And then you have to flavor it with flavor drops or stevia or monk, what is it? Monk fruit, whatever you prefer. Or you mix it in with, essential amino acids from Gorilla Mind, and those are pretty nicely flavored also. So no, don't count on it. With all good formulations, like exceptionally good formulations, you're going to have to do it yourself, because even I add stuff to the Gorilla Mode Nitric because I feel that I need ubiquinol and adenosine monophosphate and or adenosine triphosphate and a couple other goodies. So even though the Gorilla Mind formulas are good, they can always be better, but it's just financially not feasible, to add certain ingredients in. Dusker DK asks, "Hey Steve, how long before a growth hormone stimulation test should I stop exogenous IGF-1 LR3, 25 micrograms every day?" Well, not much. I doubt your serum concentrations will be elevated. Not to have it affected test. How do I prepare for the test to get the lowest possible GH levels? Okay. IGF-1 LR3 is out of your system for 2 days. But IGF-1 LR3 will suppress endogenous testosterone production. So stop the IGF-1, don't sleep for 2 days, and take a boatload of metformin. And then, metformin lowers IGF-1 and might increase. Does it increase metformin growth hormone? Metformin inhibits proliferative. Yeah. Metformin also significantly suppresses cellular proliferation and growth hormone secretion in primary that's in cancer cells. Well, you might have to do some research, but I think that metformin might reduce IGF-1, but also reduce growth hormone levels. Again, I'm just Googling this real quick. So stop it, run metformin for 2 or 3 days, and then go do your serum tests so you can get some sweet growth hormone prescribed. IDDQ Day. IDDQD asks, "Hello, Steve. Test plus Primo versus test plus Primo plus MPP. If the total anabolic steroid intake is the same, will there be a benefits muscle building wise for stimulating progesterone receptors by MPP?" No. I think you'll feel more lubricated. So let's say you have 500 tests, 500 Primo versus 400 tests, 500 Primo, and 100 NPP. I think serum concentrations of estradiol will be pretty comparable, but with the NPP, you have a little bit of padding on the joints, allowing you to train harder and thus, or feel safer while training, so you can get a few more reps in. And maybe that's where the hypertrophy signal is coming from, but the recovery capability is exactly the same. This is why I like to add Anadrol into my previous cycle. Lord of Cigars, what's up? Asks, "Hey Steve, I recently got back on TRT after a break of 2 years to pump off a baby." Man, 1 year was long enough for me. But welcome back to the club, as I am very welcome back to the club. And I love cigars too. And I'm doing 30 milligrams testosterone, I'm assuming, every other day, 150 milligrams per week for about 2 weeks. Will increase to about 150 milligrams per week. I want to introduce HCG2. You recommend 250 IUs 3 times a week. Should I start with lower 250 3 times or increase the test and then start the HCG? No, I would start the HCG now, 250 IUs 3 times per week, and then in about 4 weeks, so you've been on cycle or on TRT for 6 weeks, go check your serum estradiol and your total testosterone, your SHBG, and your lipid levels, and see if you need to put some ancillaries or other health parameters practices in place. Also asks, "I had a high blood pressure in general always. Currently, I'm taking 2.5 milligrams Cialis every day, tried 5 milligrams, but I had huge back pain, muscle pain, so went back down to 2.5. Can I add in telmisartan 20 milligrams daily? I love the effect of Cialis, but I don't want to take that out." You could try this combination. I mean, telmisartan 20 milligrams, 2.5 milligrams Cialis. I don't think that's going to make you get terribly low blood pressure. But at the earliest sign of low blood pressure, you need to add in the sodium and really stay on top of your blood pressure just to make sure that it doesn't drop too low, making you faint. All right, so I maybe experiment with telmisartan 20 milligrams per day for a week, and then reintroduce the Cialis to see how you feel and how blood pressure changes, because you can see how your blood pressure is on 2.5 milligrams Cialis versus 20 milligrams telmisartan week by week to week. And then you combine it to see how much of an additional reduction you get. So start supplementing with magnesium. You'll be surprised how much of a blood pressure reduction you will get. I'm already 20 minutes behind. IDDQD. What is your opinion on running peptides for 1 month on, 1 month off in order to prevent tolerance buildup? I mean, there's a million different peptides, so I don't think that's necessary. It really depends on which peptide you're asking for. He also asks, if you use higher dosages of IGF-1 DES, will we get the same results as with IGF-1 LR3, or is IGF-1 DES the masteron of the peptides, and no matter the protocol, it's just not worth it? I know, I never really got good results from IGF-1 DES, but I've heard other people say that they swear by it. So buy a couple vials of DES, buy a couple vials of IGF-1 LR3, run one for a month, run the other one for a month, and then see which one gave you the best results, and then buy more of that particular peptide. And then do a cost comparison, results versus the amount of micrograms that you injected, right? So if all things are equal, let's say you spend $50 per week on DES and $50 on IGF-1 LR3, but you get to inject more DES and thus you get more results, then you go with the DES, right? It's the exact same money, but you get better results. And maybe DES is more expensive, so you run less micrograms, but you still get better results, so the money is exactly the same, then you go with DES. But if DES is more expensive, you run less micrograms and thus you get less results, and you're after the results, then you run IGF-1 LR3 because it's cheaper and you get more results, right? So money versus results, that's what matters. The compounds is just a means to facilitate the goal. Andrew Gallardi asks, are vegetables still important when you get all of your micronutrients without it in your diet? Yes, for fiber and intestinal health, so you can have a proper shit without wiping. And vegetables are, we don't really go after them for the super micronutrient breakdown. Right? I mean, beef, liver, eggs are way more nutrient rich. And of course, kale and asparagus and a couple of these vegetables are very nutritious micronutrient wise, but they also taste like, well, fucking ass. So fucking ass is more fun than eating these kinds of vegetables. Yeah, I'm speaking from experience, giving, not receiving. So I got to bring the dad jokes in here. So yeah, go for it. Jiz asked about a PSC stack protocol for maximum performance for MMA. Next week, I'll make a video about it. And it might drop next week or the week after. So stay tuned. Let's not waste an entire Vigorous Q&A on that. A bit of a Hail Mary here, but berberine impacts on IGF-1. Did you look properly into it or have personal and your trainees data blood work regarding this without going too much into detail? Wondering if the impact on muscle accrual can just be ignored. Yes, it can be ignored. Just like vitamin C impact on muscle accrual, yes, it does affect it, but it's too little to care. I agree. Since I'm deep researching other stuff now, I don't want to have to stop, do a deep dive into berberine and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so evidence shows that berberine reduces IGF-1 levels, but I feel that it's negligible. Berberine might inhibit the dipeptidyl peptidase 4 enzymes, which actually break down or would otherwise break down IGF-1. So technically, berberine should be able to increase IGF-1 levels. This is part of where berberine's speculated insulin sensitizing effects is coming from, by inhibiting these enzymes, preventing the breakdown of IGF-1 and insulin. But there is some evidence that berberine lowers IGF-1 levels. Now, I think it's less dramatic than GHK copper, which people still use for anti-aging purposes. It's significantly less dramatic than a reduction in IGF-1 when you have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or use metformin, or selective estrogen receptor modulators, or keep your serum estradiol levels at the bottom of the range. I think berberine, you could just run worry-free, and your IGF-1 levels will not be affected to the point you lose out on anabolism. Yeah. Hey, Steve, how long does it take after switching from intramuscular to subQ to reach stable levels again? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right, we're already done. All right. Good. Nice and short. That's what she said. Okay, guys, I'm 24 minutes behind, so I'm just gonna scroll through the super chats. What's good? Soon to be coach. Sean Sullivan. Are you the actor? Yeah, contact me for the 10-hour consultation package. What's the best administration of an injectable amino blend? Intramuscular, subQ, or IV? Didn't I just answer this question? How long should it be taken pre-workout, and should the dosage be based on body weight? So I like Stampede and Super Shredder, but you can combine the Mass Monster blend with Super Shredder as well, from Alcoholics Anonymous. Can't say shit on YouTube anymore, man. Otherwise, you get canceled. So, Alcoholics Anonymous, Stampede, Mass Monster, or the Super Shredder. I would start with half a cc of each bilaterally, intramuscularly, and then start combining them based on your preference, right? About 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour before the workout. Usually, I do legs a little bit earlier. So I would do like 2 cc's. Yeah, I'm crazy. Like a cc of Stampede and a cc of Mass Monster bilaterally. So that's 2 per side. And then about an hour before, so I do a little bit of a warm up and then allowing it to disperse. And then by the time I get to my real first working set, my legs are engorged to the point. Well, let's not go into innuendo, but right. So for smaller muscles, you might need to pin it closer to the workout, and for bigger muscles, maybe a little bit later, allowing it to disperse a little bit more. And then combine that with pre-workout insulin or IGF-1, and man, and Anadrol. Oh man, eye to wives. Pumpy Dingus, training videos would be cool. I'd be interesting to see how your strength improves, jumps back on. Yeah, me too. I'm about the same strength now after 2 weeks on, but the tempo has slowed down and the intensity has gone up. Mohammed, hey Steven, yeah, close enough. How long could I add 25 IUs of Lantus or insulin to my test growth hormone stack 6 days a week? And fasted blood glucose was 66 after 48 hours of last insulin shot. Thanks. As long as your insulin sensitivity is sustained, I'm assuming it's long-acting insulin, not 25 IUs of short-acting insulin right away. That would be a bit too much. I would limit it to 5 IUs, 10 IUs, Humalog at any given injection. But if you're doing 25 IUs of Lantus, 6 days a week, you control your diet. I would say that you can sustain that for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, but that's just why I have the insulin eBooks, which is now 25% off, only $74.99. It will tell you everything you need to know. Take the same carbs every single day. Yeah, so I think it's very doable, man. I mean, many of my clients used insulin for years. Never came off. Freddie, what is the equivalent dose of Aromasin to Arimidex? So you could say that like 25 milligrams Aromasin is somewhat equivalent to 1 milligrams Arimidex. I always went with that guidance. So let's say you're on 1 milligrams Arimidex per week for 250 milligrams testosterone that you're injecting. You take half a milligram Arimidex Monday, Friday, because your injections are 125 milligrams testosterone Anethate or Cypionate Monday, Friday. Then you switch from Arimidex at half a milligram 2 administrations to 12.5 milligrams Aromasin 2 administrations on the day of your injection. Man, I'm on fire today. Even though I recorded for 3 hours. No, that's not true. I recorded for 3 hours for the last segment of the Trenbolone video. And then I recorded for an hour with Paul Barnett and the rest of the anabolic crew. Is there a way to increase semen volume while remaining infertile? I don't think so. I mean, it needs to contain something. Well, I think if you subject yourself to a lot of oxidative stress, you basically damage the DNA and the morphology and the motility of the semen to the point they all look crooked, like the ghoul in Fallout. But dude, the oxidative stress is systemic, not just in the seminal vesicles. Yeah, or you. I don't think there's a way, man. I don't think there's a way. Any news on somatrogen? I haven't looked into it. That's the long-acting insulin, right? Or growth hormone, somatrogon. Trogon. And Genla. Yeah, I don't know. It's bound with HCG, and The only guy that I know that ran it was a kid with stunted growth, so I had to back off a little bit because that's not something I want to associate myself with. Brendan Kelly, I know you mentioned your favorite Bitcoin YouTuber, but best books and channels for the normal stock market, if you know. Hoping to learn myself instead of trusting advisors. Best books, I can't remember, dude. I can't remember which books I read. Somebody said The Biggest Loser Wins. Or the biggest, what was it? I bookmarked it, but I never bought it. Where is it? I bookmarked it somewhere. Did I? All right, Best Loser Wins. Somebody recommended that a while ago. It might have been you. So they said that this was a good trading book. It's got 4.8 on Amazon. I'll link it down below. Give that one a read. Let me know how it is. I'm recommending you a book that I haven't read myself. Andreas Tuber, doesn't T4 supplementation plus selenium make sense for fat loss if one doesn't get T3? Yes, it does make sense. 100 micrograms T4 and selenium coming from animal meat sources, or maybe 100 micrograms morning and evening, depending on how much selenium you get from your diet. Star Piercer, I'm on the vertical diet and I'm wondering what supplements and food I can replace eggs with, because you get inflammation, for the micronutrients like biotin and choline. A general multivitamin and maybe some beef liver. I think that's pretty comparable, albeit that beef liver is a lot richer in vitamin A. I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, you can get choline from supplements like choline and an acetal combination, and biotin you can buy separately as a supplement as well. Sometimes it's in the B100 complexes. Ilya, hey Steve, are potassium citrate or chloride used in different purposes, or is one just better than the other in your opinion? I would always supplement with potassium chloride, but I can get potassium chloride salt here in Thailand. It's a low sodium potassium salt, so it's potassium chloride and sodium chloride and iodine, and I add that to all of my meals. Yeah, but if you can't get that, then you go with potassium citrate in 99 milligram tablets, and you supplement with that, maybe 1 or 2 tablets per meals, right? But again, you need to make sure that you know how much potassium you're getting from your diet and then supplement accordingly. Because just because I have 9,000 milligrams of potassium per day doesn't mean that you have to, right? Buster, additional information to my SHBG question in the beginning. I'm pituitary hypogonadal. I'm on 1,000 milligrams of Goodvito every 3 to 4 weeks. Switch this to daily subcutaneous microadministrations and your SHBG will drop 100%. Does this change anything on the dosages of Berberine? You suggest switch to daily microadministrations, but feel free to add in 6.25 milligrams Berberine morning and evening, and then do both, right? Daily sub-Q and 12.5 milligrams Berberine, split over 2 administrations morning and evening, and then reassess in 4 weeks. Yeah, see what happened. See how much your boners improved. Dolmatov, hey Steve, bumped the steroid dose just doubled to twice as much. My average heart rate went up by 10 points and sleep is fucked. Is high androgen signaling? Yes, it's very likely. Any advice? I suffered the last 8 weeks of my blast. Well, it's probably also because you gained some water weight, and thus your average heart rate went up because your body weight increased. So, daily fasted cardio to bring that heart rate back down with 10 points. And make sure you do morning administration so you can sleep at night. And otherwise drop the dose a bit. Star Piercer, another vertical diet question. Will eating unhealthy foods like ice cream and seed oils from restaurants hinder my health? Yes. Especially if you live in the United States. I mean, I did that for a month and my health parameters were fucking horrible. So never again. If I eat them on top of my diet occasionally, 20-year-old natty, 170 pounds. Yeah, just follow the vertical diet, man. That diet is almost perfect if you want to eat unhealthy foods once per week. That's it. That's it. 5, 6 healthy meals every single day, 6 days a week. And then on Sunday, this is what I do. You have 2 healthy meals and 1 big meal, or 3 healthy meals and 1 big meal, which matches the caloric intake that you have on the other 6 days. But then it's just whatever the fuck you want, So it's I think that doesn't matter if you eat healthy 6.5 days a week, but if you do it frequently, ice cream every day and seed oils every day from restaurants, I would not do that, man. I ate at restaurants in the United States every day, and my C-reactive protein and when it was horrible. Yeah, even Iron Grid doesn't have pizza today. I'm sending you love, man. Maybe you should have some Ben and Jerry's. Dr. Delts, yo, Steve, on Anavar, 10 milligrams every day. Always makes wake up mid sleep needing to urinate. Would taking sulpometal mitigate this or something else? No, just that's part of the game. I hold, I mean, look at my face compared to 2 weeks ago. I'm starting to hold more water now in this HRT Plus protocol. And for the guys that were following Anabolic Bodybuilding podcast just now, yes, I took a shot of tren acetate for the Trenbolone acetate or for the Trenbolone deep dive because it was 60 pages of notes. And I knew it was going to take a multitude of different days to record this video properly because I always stumble over my words and then I just re-record the same sentence again. That's why there's so many jump cuts in my videos because I want those videos to be flawless, right? I'm a perfectionist. It is fucking crippling. So I recorded for 5 days and I'm like, I'm not going to talk about tren. I estimated that I needed about 5 days. I'm not going to talk about tren without being or not being on Trenbolone. So I took a shot of Trenbolone on Tuesday, and I gained 2 kilos. But you guys can guess how many milligrams I injected. Let's see if that continues or not. So far, so good. So, and yes, because my water weight increased from being on cycle and using Anavar and adding in a little bit of tren and IGF-1 and GH, I hold water at the end of the day and I have to piss up a storm every single night. It's just, it's part of the game, man. It's part of the game. Otherwise, you can take some desmopressin. Desmopressin. Which, but if you take telmisartan, then desmopressin acetate is a nasal spray. Control the amount of urine that your kidneys make. So you're basically reducing the amount of urine that you produce, which might not be so good for your metabolic markers when you're running Anavar. So enjoy the ride, man. Enjoy the ride. The good thing about peeing multiple times per night is that when you wake up, you look in the mirror, you're like, holy shit, I look a lot better than yesterday. And it happens every day, just like it's happening to me. Good stuff. Paul Christian, what IGF-1 reagents can you expect from 25 milligrams MK677 with CJC and DAC? Can ipromelon be used with both, all three together? I don't know, because it really depends, right? How much growth hormone you're going to get and how much IGF-1 you can produce in the liver, how old you are, if there's any other things. So I would just recommend you to watch the growth hormone optimization deep dive. The cheat sheet where I explain everything. And since I don't really keep track of these things unless I'm preparing for a video like this, I'm going to say that I think it's better to combine MK677 with CJC with DAC or no DAC if you only want to do one shot a week. And then, well, the ipamorelin, I think it works on the same receptor as MK677. So since MK677 is already a pretty good growth hormone secretagogue, I would just say not to combine that and solely rely on MK677. But experiment with both, man. You'll come to the same conclusion as most people that exogenous growth hormone is far superior. Roberto, all right, is there a question? I don't see it. Hey, Steve, what is your funniest and most stupid story you have from being a coach or being from bodybuilder environment in general? Man, it's been a minute. Funniest and most stupid. I mean, so many, man. I off the top of my head, I can't remember of something that is worth your time. Ryan, what's up? Cortex Labs. We had a lot of emails this week. Yo, brother. Literature suggests estradiol can occupy androgen receptors in some cases. Thoughts? I couldn't find that. Yeah, I did an androgen receptor deep dive, right? But I couldn't find anything like that in the literature. So please send me that literature and then I can form my own opinion on it. And stop sending me money, dude. You don't need to pay me. I'll see your name regardless. So Yeah, I don't know. When I did the androgen receptor deep dive, I didn't find anything like that in the literature, and I spent a good couple days on it. I do know that Trenbolone has 0.002% receptor binding affinity compared to estradiol, so that's a trace amount. And some of the other progestogenic 19-ORs might have, or Trestolone inhibits the estrogen receptor, but I can't. I don't know. Let me look up the relative binding affinities. Now I'm curious. I'll link it down below. 1 second. Don't worry, Ryan. I got you. Estradiol. Oh, wait. There's relative affinities for estrogen for the steroid receptors. Estradiol for the androgen. Oh, 7.9. Oh, so it does. I did not know that. I might have to follow these citations. I thought I went through all these fucking citations. All right, maybe estradiol is the ultimate androgen receptor blocker. Anyway, I've linked it down below. This is a template for the relative affinities of estrogen for the steroid hormone receptors and blood proteins. There's 8 references there. And maybe in one of these references, it shows that estradiol has a 7.9% binding affinity for the androgen receptor when compared to testosterone being 100%. All right, so I was not aware. Shame on me for not including this in the androgen receptor deep dive. But I also forgot caprylic acid, which is found in MCT oil, which I did include in the carrier oil deep dive video series. And then I forgot to include it in the androgen receptor deep dive, where caprylic acid has been shown to activate and upregulate the androgen receptors, but that's only in prostate tissue. So sometimes you just forget shit, man. And after a while, I can't be bothered to read even more and more and more and more for a video that will be 5 minutes longer. And because of the 5 minutes that I add to the video, the audience retention and the interest goes down. Right? So sometimes you just gotta. I did my fair share of researching. I think it's good enough. I don't think I forgot anything. But if I forgot anything, then my sincere apologies. This is true. Yeah, this is the way. Hey, Steve, 1,000 milligrams testosterone versus 400 milligrams test plus 5 milligrams mint every day. Plus 50 milligram Anadrol. Which cycle? Second one. Second one, hands down. Yeah, second one, hands down, dude. Holy shit, didn't know oxidative stress fucks up a sperm morphology. It got 100 million ghouls. Yeah. Yeah, it is the case. This is why I came off cycle and took so many antioxidants. Hey, Steve, I'm doing 250 milligrams testosterone ACETATE every 5 days, 25 milligrams Aromasin. On day 3 and 5, my estradiol is 45. Do I take Aromasin on days that I don't inject or up the dose on injection days? No, just start doing daily microadministrations. Don't be lazy. And take like 6.25 milligrams Aromasin 4 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I think your estradiol will come down to 45. All right, and more stable. So unless you want to do the lazy man's TRT, right, for the sake of convenience, then it could work, but then you shouldn't complain about fluctuating estradiol levels. All right. Matthew Greg, how far are we behind? 10 minutes. Okay, we're getting there. Hey, Steve, about to add HCG to TRT, and assuming estradiol will go up. Estradiol was 51.5 picograms per milliliter and SHBG 41. Pre-HCG. Should I add in Aromasin with HCG, and if so, what dose? How much HCG are you using? How much TRT are you using, and how much HCG do you want to use? All right, Matthew, I'll be looking out for your update in 10 minutes. And just spam it. All right, guys, if Matthew spams the question, he's allowed to because he super chatted $10. But I need additional information. Big fan coach from South Africa. What's up? Hoe gaat het met jou? Ik hoop dat je een beetje Nederlands kan begrijpen. Want in Zuid-Afrika spreken ze ook Afrikaans. Wat is in principe gewoon Nederlands. Hope you're doing well, dude. Yes, in South Africa they speak something similar that sounds to Dutch. It's called Afrikaans. There's lots of discussion about keeping control of low-density lipoprotein levels, but according to a National Institute of Health article, there's no correlation between LDL levels and heart disease. Any comment on that? Is that a new article? As far as I know, there is a correlation, a direct correlation between low-density lipoprotein forming foam cells, getting stuck in the arteries and forming plaque in combination with calcium, especially when the arteries are inflamed. And guess what? Many bodybuilders are inflamed and have elevated LDL, so just play it safe, right? I doubt this National Institute of Health article has been performed on bodybuilders eating the same food every single day, being inflamed from training, having elevated blood pressure in the arteries during strenuous sets, and taking a boatload of steroids. So I would proceed on the safe side. And caution. Is it possible to reliably measure serum growth hormone after injecting 5 IUs sub-Q? And if so, I would love be optimal. Put 2 IUs intravenously 5 minutes before you draw blood. That's the most reliable way, because 5 minutes is about long enough for your blood to kind of circulate, for the growth hormone concentrations to become homogenized, so it's equal everywhere. So you IV it, 2 IUs, only with farm grade, not with generics. Otherwise, you might go into anaphylactic shock if there's impurities in your generic GH. You draw blood 5 minutes later, and then you, on 2 IUs, serum growth hormone levels will be over 80 nanograms per milliliter. But if the ranges even go up that high, 100, 125 is not unheard of. But with sub-Q, no, it absorbs so slow, and even with intramuscular, the timing is sometimes a little bit off. Duster DK, 2 days on a row, drank a hydration drink pre-workout, and my arms were crazy vascular. People commented on it. It contained vitamin E, B6, B12, potassium, and magnesium. Which of them did the work, and which one did not? I think the magnesium, because it dilates your arteries, and the vitamin E is an antioxidant. The B6 and B12 might help with a little bit of energy. The potassium, helps with glucose shuttling. Maybe usually in these hydration drinks, there's a little bit of glucose, and this is why the potassium is there. But the magnesium helps to dilate your arteries, allowing for more blood volume, but thus less blood pressure. But cosmetically, the arteries look bigger. You can't really see it. I should pinch it off. Let's do some asphyxiation. All right, so I take a boatload of magnesium, and look at these arteries, man. Well, maybe it's a 20 milligrams telmisartan that I'm on. Look at that. Holy shit, don't you want to inject in that? Glutathione, NAD+, not heroin. So I think it's the magnesium. And take those compliments, man. Your compliments only make my dick harder. If you know that meme. Oh man, that's such a deep cut. Matthew. Well, let me see. Let me scroll down real quick for Matthew's. I don't see it. Where are we? Joe. Hey Steve, what underground? No, we don't make underground lab recommendations. So sorry. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't make recommendations. Steve, I told you last week at the Lazy Man's TRT, my SHBG was at 14. That's why I went with this protocol. Okay, well, I don't remember, dude. I do multiple consultations per day. There's 200 people in the chat. I don't keep track, man. I don't keep track. Okay, so you're injecting every 5 days. Let me scroll up. All right, make sure you include all of that. Because I need to be able to sleep at night, man. I don't need to fill my brain with the personalized advice from 1 million people, unless they do consultations. Then I care. But for Vigorous Q&A, man, I try to forget everything that I just discussed as soon as this Vigorous Q&A is over, so I can go to bed. So you're doing 250 milligrams testosterone enanthate every 5 days with Aromasin. Your estradiol is 55. So if the goal is to bring SHBG up, then I would leave it exactly like this. I would leave it exactly like that. Yeah, because your estradiol is not too high to the point you get libido issues, organicomastia, or severe water retention, but it should be high enough, and the influx of androgens should be low enough or infrequent enough for your SHBG to come up. All right. Hope that satisfies Hope that answer is satisfactory. Hey Steve, been following you for years. Have you seen anyone getting into problems with nuked S iron, lower hemoglobin, anemic now on 250 milligrams test weekly? Yes, if you have intestinal hemorrhaging. Yeah. Yeah, so if you have stomach ulcers or persistent hemorrhoids, then you might bleed out to the point you have low hemoglobin and zero iron levels, or you have some sort of intestinal absorption issue. And for all these things, I would advise you to consult with a doctor, because maybe you need an iron infusion and intramuscular administration of vitamin B12 to really bring your liver, not liver king, get stumped here, to bring your hemoglobin concentration back up, right? So this is why we have doctors. Mm. Hey, Steve, do you have any special protocols to get rid of SIBO? No, there is a YouTube channel that dedicates itself to intestinal health, and I'm subscribed, but they barely post anything. So let me see my subscriptions. Where is it? 20, oh yeah, Diagnostic Solutions. And I got this from a friend of mine. All right, it's linked down below. Give this YouTube channel a watch, Diagnostic Solutions Laboratory, because they go over intestinal health quite a bit. But I'm not familiar with SIBO and what the particular protocol would be. I do have a video about how to restore intestinal health after steroid use. How to heal your gut, I think it's called. How to heal your gut. Steroids ruined your gut. Look at that hair, man. Jesus Christ. Is this the one? Yeah, that's the one with LR37. All right. I'll link that down below also. Give that YouTube channel and my video a watch, and I think you might be able to find a solution there. But yeah, following an elimination diet and maybe using some peptides to heal everything is probably a good starting point. Now, guys, you guys know better. And plus, I don't know. I think it's all water-based. All right, just saying. Cool. Now, let's see if, what's his name? Already came back. Matthew. It was a hit and run question. Just posts it. And then I'll check it. I'll check back in tomorrow when the timestamps in there. Matthew didn't come back. Hit and run question. Goat Ninja. Greatest of all time ninja. I can see you. So I started watching Shogun, by the way. I'm into episode 9 now. So, man, those Japanese people are eager to die. I can tell you that, at least in the TV series. Take 150 or 140 milligrams per week plus 8 cg, 250 IUs 3 times per week. Had gyno flare up 3 months now. Raloxifene alone didn't shrink it. 2 months on 120 milligrams. I will try letrozole. Rest is in regular chat. What you need to do is some blood work, buddy, because it might not be related to estradiol levels. Worked for me before pulse cycle, wondering how to mitigate side effects and anything else I could do in conjunction that might help Masteron or Primo. Do your blood work first, because if the raloxifene at 120 milligrams per week is not working, it could just be water retention. If your estradiol, your prolactin, your progesterone is all in range, then there's nothing to block. It's just puffy nips. And if you're taking 140 milligrams testosterone plus 250 IUs ATG 3 times per week, your serum testosterone levels are super physiological, which can potentiate water retention also. I mean, look at my face in the last 2 weeks. I hold water. Did my nipples get puffy? Sure. I don't give a fuck. Guess I know it's not gyno. So it sometimes you hold water, man. Do some blood work. Don't crush your estradiol because your dick will probably not work. And then you're worried about your nipples, but now your nipples are puffy and your dick is anything but puffy. And then what's the point? So blood work first, and then assess from there. And then you could try Masteron or Primobolan, but again, those might lower your estradiol levels also. So get a baseline first, man. Do the right thing. Starpiercer, recently I've been having this weird stuff when I ingest caffeine after a bit, some twitches, contraptions around the chest area. Any tips? 20-year-old Natty. It could be a micronutrient deficiency, probably electrolytes. So start supplementing with taurine, magnesium, and potassium for interstellar and hydration levels, basically. And then take it from there. Maybe you need a little bit more sodium. It really depends on what you're getting from your diet. Last night I fell asleep while watching the last Q&A, and I dreamed that I saw you in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, and we took a selfie. Sharm el Sheikh. Is that one of the neighborhoods? I haven't been to Egypt yet. Sharm el Sheikh. City in Egypt. Oh, that looks fucking gorgeous, dude. That looks nice. I hope we were on the beach in one of those cabanas, because that looks fucking epic. Should you visit Sharm el Sheikh? Well, now you're making me curious. I might have to swing by, man. Maybe we can take that selfie. Yeah, maybe we can take that selfie, and then we go to the pharmacy and get some genotropin. I know you guys have that in Egypt. That's why all the Egyptian bodybuilders are so fucking swole. Yo, Steve, for somebody with a work and home rotation of 2 weeks work away and then 3 weeks home, realistically, what PED protocol would be optimal? Can't bring PEDs away with me, as in HCG 3 weeks, natty at the moment. Okay. Do you have any previous experience with hormones? Because it would be wise to get some experience with PEDs, testosterone, etc., before you start going on this this weird rotation. So, nandrolone, undecanoate, right? That's, I always mix up these esters. Or not nandrolone, sorry. Nebido. Testosterone, yeah, testosterone undecanoate. You take that, the full 2 weeks dose right before you leave. You bring Aromasin with you to control your serum estradiol while this Nebido is tapering. And then in the 3 weeks that you're home, you just shoot 125 milligrams Nebido Monday, Friday, right? With normal, the exact same Aromasin protocol. Since nandrolone, not nandrolone, testosterone undecanoate has such a long half-life, especially if you inject it subcutaneously, coming from Nebido being castor oil with a 33.9 day half-life. I think your serum concentrations are going to be very stable if you do 3 weeks at 125 milligrams Monday, Friday, with, let's say, 6.25 to 12.5 milligrams Aromasin on injection days. Again, depending on how lean you are, and how fast it's absorbing or how slow it's absorbing. And then for those 2 weeks, you just inject 500 milligrams, right, before you leave. And you continue with the exact same Aromasin dose. I think that's very doable. You can use HCG in the 3 weeks that you're back home, obviously. And then, well, in the 2 weeks that you're away from work, you might have some fluctuating estradiol levels because you're pitting so much test for those 2 weeks that you're going. And the only real way of figuring out what the ideal Aromasin or aromatase inhibitor protocol is going to be is by experimentation. Yeah, you do your blood work before, you do your blood work after you come back, maybe somewhere in the middle, right, over the next couple of months. Don't have to do it so many times to the point that the clinic starts to worry about what you're doing. And then you slowly adjust your Aromasin protocol to that. That's what I would do. Yeah. LOL. 513. Are there any steroids that are hair sparing while on finasteride other than testosterone? And no, nandrolone is a big issue on finasteride. Well, all the other steroids are dihydrotestosterone derivatives and will potentiate hair loss. So if you're worried about your hair, testosterone and finasteride is what it's going to be. And nandrolone, they say, look at it logically, right? You use finasteride to prevent the conversion of testosterone into dihydrotestosterone. Dihydrotestosterone is an active metabolite of testosterone, but dihydronandrolone is an inactive metabolite of nandrolone. It has no real effects. So instead of taking nandrolone at 100 milligrams, converting into dihydronandrolone, and then getting a comparable effect of 100 milligrams nandrolone per week, why don't you take 50 milligrams nandrolone? So you get the same effect as 100 milligrams because it's now not being metabolized into this biologically benign metabolite. Makes logical sense, right? So it's not a big issue if you just reduce the dose. So yeah, that's what I would do. But well, what I would do is just shave your hair, right? I'm not a big aromatizer for 400 milligrams test, 5 milligrams mint, 50 milligrams anadrol. Can estradiol be an issue? Yes, it can be. Yeah, of course. I mean, estradiol, it's said that anadrol is said to interact with the estrogen receptor, even though I can't find any scientific evidence that it does. Trebolone actually blocks the estrogen receptor, which I found in the scientific literature with a very small affinity, but it can convert into 7-alpha-methyl estradiol, which has the same transcriptional activity and binding affinity as estradiol does, so you get a similar estradiol-like effect. And testosterone at this dose will certainly convert into estradiol. So run this protocol for 4 weeks, do your blood work, and see if you need Aromasin. Blood work will always tell you what to do. Hey, Steve, love all the content you put out. Really great for the community. If a drug was to increase hematocrit, LDL, and decrease HDL, how long would it take on average? Thanks. So let's say we go with Anadrol. I would say that hematocrit will slowly come up in 4 to 8 weeks, but starts to really have a dramatic effect after 3 months because it takes so long for red blood cells to really be produced. Of course, if you go with 500 milligrams Anadrol per day, which is a clinically recognized dose, if you're 100 kilos, 5 milligram per 1 kilo of body weight, then hematocrit can come up significantly faster and increase LDL and decrease HDL faster as well. But if you stick with a 50 milligram per day dose, I think 4 to 8 weeks is usually a good time to really see dramatic changes. Yeah. And it's the same for Primobolan, it's the same for Boldenone. All these erythropoietic compounds will also skew your lipids. Yeah. Mohammed, oh my God, you must come. It's insane. Yeah, that coming is insane for me every single time. Ask the wife. But I would love to come to, what is it, Chic or Sheik? Chic? Man, I can't find your previous question. Sorry, dude. Let me look for a long name. Hey, here it is. Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt. Yeah, it looks great, man. I got so many travel obligations though this year that I'm not sure if I can make it. Joe, hey Steven, sorry for the last question. Started TRT options here are Sustanon, Libido, every other day, daily sub-Q. Both options are not ideal because of inflammation. Sustanon and Libido's long half-life. It's tough to get dialed in quickly. I would go with Libido then, man. I mean, it's castor oil. I know subcutaneous or every other day administrations might take some time to improve your serum concentrations, but the Sustanon is in a Roche's oil, and that can be indeed inflammatory, and otherwise, well, you're going to have to, source online. But I don't give recommendations for underground labs because I don't keep track. And I don't want to show any bias. So what's a carrier oil deep dive video for some ideas? Let me link it down below, since you're sending me 100 AED, and that's quite a lot, AED to USD. $27, so that's the least I can do. Find you the carrier oil video. So give that video a watch, and then, walk into Bino's gym, man. Bino's gym, I heard that there's a couple guys there that might be able to help you out. You know, you just walk up. If you're in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, you go to the biggest gym. You walk up to the biggest guy and say, "Listen, I only have access to Goodvito. Who do I talk to? I'm willing to pay." I've done this in every fucking gym that I've been to all over the world, and it always works. Right? And people come up to me in Thailand all the time, "Steve, which pharmacy do I go to?" And I send them exactly where to go to. I just don't put it publicly. But if somebody with even a little bit of muscle comes up to me, say, listen, I don't have time to figure this shit out. Tell me where to go and who to talk to, and I'll hook them up. So bodybuilders are the best trip advisors. Just be nice about it, you know. And if you're in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, then dude, I went to Dubai and it was steroids were everywhere. Steroids were fucking everywhere. All right, where are we? Yeah, I love Dubai. Should go back. Got to go back, Kate. And where am I? I shoot 10 milliliters cerebrolysine and I don't get post-injection pain at that quantity. No, cerebrolysine is the smoothest injection you will ever experience. And if you keep it in the fridge and you shoot 10 milliliters, then it is pretty cold going in. Gold Ninja, definitely gyno. Blood work being done Monday. Okay, if I decide to take letrozole, how might I mitigate some of these side effects, lipids, joints? Take a low dose. But it really depends on your blood work results Monday. So I would not do anything drastic. And I think that your estradiol is totally fine. Honestly, dude, I think your estradiol is totally fine. And if it's slightly elevated, then the roloxifene should have blocked it. So stop playing with your nipples. Don't look at it for a week. And then when you get your blood work results back, then take a very low dose to bring your estradiol down, which I don't think is elevated. And you will get side effects. It's that simple. Letrozole is fucking potent. So you don't take 2.5 milligrams to bring your estradiol levels down. You take 0.5 milligrams or 1.25, 6.25, right? So get a razor, start cutting those tiny tablets in quarters, and then take a little bit. Should give Charm a visit. Yeah, it looks gorgeous, man. Absolutely. From the pictures I just saw on Google Maps, it looks absolutely crazy. All right. Yes, that was a Lost reference. All right, we made it to the end of the chat. Let me answer that one question that I didn't see an update for because he super chatted hard. All right. Matthew Gregg. Hey, Steve, about to add HCG to my TRT, assuming that estradiol will go up. Estradiol was at 51 picograms per milliliter and SHBG 41 pre-HCG. Should I add in Aromasin with the HCG, and if so, what dose? So I'm assuming your HRT is 175 milligrams per week, right? 25 milligrams subcutaneous every single day. Adding in 250 IUs HCG will bring your estradiol up to, I would say, 60 picograms per milliliter, and your testosterone up from, let's say, 1,000, 1,100 to maybe 1,300, 1,400. I would add in 6.25 milligrams Aromasin Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the day of your HCG injections or your testosterone injections, right? So, or maybe you'll do 2 injections per day, depending on your protocol. So, right, this is why I asked. But 6.25 milligrams Aromasin 3 times per week. Reassess, redo your blood work 4 weeks into that protocol. Double check if Matthew didn't post anything. So many questions, guys. I mean, there's usually 200 people in here, and everybody's posting stuff. Lower the dose. Yeah, that's not what anybody wants to hear, man. Do you notice any effects of L-carnitine during a loading phase? A loading phase of what? I never did a loading phase for anything. Not Dianabol, not creatine, not L-carnitine. I just start a protocol and just stick to the dose that I want to use. Yeah. All right, let's see if there's something interesting. Alex or Andrew. Are the effects on insulin sensitivity levels the same all across the board with all growth hormone secretagogues? That's a good question. I started to look into the scientific evidence for some of the growth hormone secretagogues, and it's fucking abysmal how little there is. Again, they're technically not FDA approved. They're prescribable. They're being used readily, but I can't say that I've ever heard anybody say that they lost insulin sensitivity on a growth hormone secretagogue besides MK677. Not IPA, not maybe GHRP6 because it also makes you hungry. And then you eat, the wrong food and thus you lose insulin sensitivity. But I mean, you could say that the insulin sensitivity is reduced for an equivalent amount of serum growth hormone, which increases hormone-sensitive lipase and thus increases free-form fatty acids in the bloodstream coming from adipose tissue, which inhibits insulin-like substrate 1, preventing glucose transporter type 4 translocation to the cell membrane. So it basically inhibits the effects of insulin. And whatever dose of growth hormone secretagogue for a certain serum concentration of growth hormone, that should all potentiate the same effect. Yeah. And MK677 is still the most potent growth hormone secretagogue out there for 20 to 30 milligrams per day, since it's such a long-acting growth hormone secretagogue. If you can control your diet, your insulin sensitivity should stay normal, right? Supplement with a little bit of injectable carnitine to help with fatty acid oxidation. And don't eat like an asshole, in many cases, it's just about living the lifestyle. I know it sucks. Can I eat cheat food 3 times a week? No, you can't. Shut the fuck up. You can't. Otherwise, I'd be doing it, man. I eat cheat food once a week. Only on holiday, I eat like an asshole. And every time my body composition, it turns to shit, I mean, I lost a lot of size when I was off cycle, but I looked pretty fucking respectable for somebody who was off cycle for a year. I looked pretty good. I was pretty fucking strong, and it's not because, well, okay, I was on HCG monotherapy, but I also put in the work, right? I was on the supplements. I went to the gym, even though I didn't feel like going to the gym many times. I still went to the gym and put in the work, and I didn't deviate from my fucking diet at all. So I know that wasn't your question, but I just allow me to rant a little bit. Another orange. What currency is this? SEK. Swedish krona, 269. 25 bucks. Man, you guys are generous today. 1 year I was on 2 big cycles, 500 milligrams test and masteron with Tren. For 6 months I did, you shouldn't be running steroids in Sweden. You guys are steroid phobic. For 6 months I did 200 milligrams test, 300 masteron, and then 100 milligrams to test. Libido is bad no matter what. Estradiol 120, but SHBG is 10 or less. Now thinking what to do, PCT will help my libido. Okay, so is your estradiol 120 picograms per milliliter or picomoles per liter, right? That really makes a difference, because 120 for picomoles is normal range, but for picograms is, 3 times out of the reference range. But your estradiol is kind of low, so I'm assuming that it's picomoles and not picograms. I would stay on TRT, skip the PCT for now until your libido is intact, because nobody has good libido during PCT. I just got back on steroids 2 weeks, and my libido is 1,000 times better than it was on HCG monotherapy, even though my testosterone and estradiol levels were, pretty fucking good. So, yeah, I would stay on TRT. I would stay on 150 milligrams testosterone per week, 25 milligrams DHEA, and 10 milligrams pregnenolone per day, split morning and evening, or maybe doubling the dose. If you can get that in Sweden. I know it's a little bit difficult to order DHEA and pregnenolone off iHerb or Amazon or eBay, because, again, you live in a steroid-phobic country. Add in some HCG to your testosterone at least to help with testicular function for normal androstenedione and androstenediol and estradiol and estrone, all these intermediary hormones. Your estradiol or your DHEA and pregnenolone levels might also go up. And I think you slowly but steadily can improve your libido with TRT and HCG if you don't have access to DHEA and pregnenolone. So I'll link you one video, which is the short-term HCG protocol, which explains how to restore your libido. Oh, because HCG is really good for your libido if you combine it with a little bit of testosterone. My HCG only protocol was not so good for libido. I'll tell you that. It was good enough, but not stellar, not steroid like libido. Steve, cholesterol is 160, triglycerides 92, HDL 31, LDL 116. Most regular over-the-counter supplements I use already. Thoughts on ezetimibe? Yeah. Can it cause cramps to the muscles? No, it's not a statin, so I've never heard anybody get ezetimibe or cramping from ezetimibe, just like they do with statins. I'm sensitive to that. I had to stop cardarine due to cramping. Okay, so maybe your LDL is 116. I think the ezetimibe 10 milligrams per day can bring that down to 70, 80, based on your testosterone protocol that I'm now remembering, because we just discussed that, right? I don't think you're going to cramp. The only issue that you might see in the scientific literature with ezetimibe is that it lowers omega-3 serum concentrations, which from all the guys that I've sent to Merrick Health before and after ezetimibe treatment, doing before and after serum omega-3 concentration tests, which Merrick Health has, I don't really see any changes. But these guys are also supplementing with fish oil and eating healthy, living the lifestyle, but also taking steroids, and that's why their LDL is a little bit higher than where they would like it to be. So I think ezetimibe is reasonably benign. Some people get intestinal upset from it. They can't run it, like Paul Burnett, for example. He can't run ezetimibe, and some people might experience reduced serum omega-3 content, even though I never see that play out in the real world. So, yeah. Alvaro J D. He's got some time to ask questions. Don't forget the timestamp, bro. Hey, Steve, what are your thoughts on Goodvito from the Detroit Pro? His structure and muscularity is insane. He can even be Mr. Olympia title contender in the future. Well, he has a lot of gaps to fill, especially from the back, but his conditioning was on point. His presentation needs to improve a little bit. I would like to see a comparison between a Goodvito, Derek Lunsford, Hadi Chupan, and Martin Fitzwater, because they're all bubbly as fuck and reasonably short. Fitzwater is about this tall. I think he's like 5'6", 5'7". I met him a couple times in the US. Super nice guy. Really matured a lot over the last couple of years. Good people. Right, I know you're watching sometimes. So, Martin, congratulations. I didn't want to blow up your inbox. I'm sure your inbox is full with the exact same fucking message. Congrats on going to the Olympia. I'll see you there. So yeah, I would like to see a lineup of those four guys because they're all reasonably short, but super wide and round and full and in good conditioning. Even though Goodvito could be a little bit harder and a little bit fuller. Again, working with Chris Aceto the first couple of times, you might be a little bit flat, and then later on you learn your body and you start to get full again. That's just a pattern that I see with Chris Aceto, right? He gets his guys shredded, but then it's usually at the expense of fullness the first couple of times. So once they can dial that in for another show, I think Goodvito and Martin Fitzwater are doing the New York Pro, but I doubt that they will get past Nick Walker, who he's looking fucking good, man. He's looking fucking good. Yeah, he's a little bit taller than these guys, and he's double as bubbly and double as full. So, good luck beating Nick Walker. But yeah, I would still like to see them all next together. Opinion on 300 tests. Cypionate per week for 20 weeks. 20 milligrams Trenbolone the last 7 weeks. 250 IUs HCG 2 times a week on cycle. Increased that to 3 times per week. 4 weeks PCT. Enclomiphene 6 milligrams. NAC nutty test boosters. HCG Pro. Yeah, so we already discussed the HCG downregulation last week, so please use the timestamps. A 4-week PCT you can initiate, I think, 4 to 6 weeks after your last injection of testosterone, because you need to let serum concentrations come down low enough and the Trenbolone metabolize, which actually has a detection time of, what was it, 15 months or something. So those metabolites might stay in your system a very long time and make your PCT fail. And I would go with 25 milligrams in clomiphene, not 6 milligrams. All right, 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, because your testosterone cycle is pretty long, although that you're not really using compounds that are super suppressive, right? Nothing through the progesterone receptors, for example. Keep the HCG in there, 250 IUs 3 times per week, and then use the natty test boosters. I have videos on that. Booster. natty. Fake natty steroid protocol. Oh. Half natty approved stack. Over-the-counter testosterone. I can't remember the titles of my videos, man. Ah, there you go. All natural testosterone boosters. There we go. Link it down below. Cool. Yeah, just make sure you start your PCT a couple weeks after the last testosterone administration. I explained that in the easiest fuck post-cycle therapy video. And I have an ebook about it, but you better hurry up because it might be offline in 1.5 weeks. Anyway, you just watch that video. You don't even need to buy it. But if you want to sponsor me in under $15, then I'm not going to say no, dude. Yeah, so that is the protocol. I was just trolling. Shade Viking. Well, you're a Viking, so it's better than being a Liver King. At least Vikings have some balls. In the chat for that one. It was a good joke. That was a good joke. All right, are we done with the questions? Then I'm going to go to bed, man. It's been a long fucking day. You see my super chat, Joe Green. This one I answered. Oh, here. Sorry, good that you mentioned it. I want to blast and cruise for a few years at lower dosages. Well, then you just cruise, you don't do a blast. Would I be able to do a PCT in X amount of years to return to natural production again? Hell fucking no. And even if you do, it won't feel the same because you've been saucing your ass off for such a long time. So I was 600 nanograms per deciliter, 650 give or take, when I was 26 years old, and then I went on cycle for 9 to 10 years, and I was able to get my testosterone levels back to 620 nanograms per deciliter, and it did not feel the same at all. And I wasn't training. If I were to train, it would be like 500 or something. Dude, I came off now for a year, right, with HCG monotherapy. My serum testosterone was 850 at times, sometimes 920 after a fast, because again, you don't train and then you don't utilize the testosterone. It just floats around in the system. I didn't feel the same, man. I didn't feel the same. Maybe it's because I'm 40, maybe because I have more things going on. I have a lot of work, but I did not feel the same as on cycle, our basic TRT. I didn't feel the same as when I was 26, even though I might romanticize that period because it's, well, 15 fucking years ago when I was natural. So, no, if you blast and cruise for years, I would only come off to get your wife pregnant. And then you go right back. And I wouldn't even do PCT. I just do HCG and FSH. All right, just blast that shit. Get your fertility back as fast as possible because with PCT, it would just take months. So just do HCG and FSH. Get your fertility back. Use a little bit of HCG to sustain testicular function while you're blasting your socks off and doing cruises in the meantime to stay healthy. During those periods, right? You don't stay healthy during your blast, but only during the cruise. You might improve your health. And natural production will come back if you stimulate that with HCG. So the natural production in the testicles is there, but you need to blast HCG 1,000 IUs 3 times per week. And even then, it won't feel the same. No. I'm so happy to be back on the gear, man. Yeah, it sounds like a fucking addict, but well, it is what it is. All right, more super chats. Is HCG and 250 IUs testosterone a must? 27 with healthy blood so far. If you want to sustain your testicular volume, your libido, and your fertility parameters, then I would say yes. And I know it's getting increasingly expensive to source HCG, but that's just politics, baby. WNT Productions. Does cycle planning change if planning to follow your keto diet with a weekend refeed? Starting cut, 23 years old, 185 pounds, 20% body fat. Suggestions. No, I think a ketogenic diet with a weekend refeed is totally fine. Increase your sodium intake during the week so you don't get flat. But if you're on steroids, I mean, I follow a ketogenic diet year round and I'm not flat anymore. But I mean, I've been training since I was 15 years old. So, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at how dense. That's the Anavar. Maybe the trend that I took on Tuesday. How does this look? It's going to turn into a muscle worship show. Let's get this question out of here. Yeah, look at this. It's already 10 times better than last week. Oh, hurts. So cycle planning, you don't have to plan your cycle. You make adjustments as your body changes. This is, let me link you to step-by-step cycle design. You're a young guy. You need to watch this video again. Step-by-step cycle design. I explain everything there. Man, my face looks so much more streamlined when I was off the juice. That's the only thing I hate about steroids, man. It makes you look fucking huge. What made you hesitate of trying mint? Well, it impairs fertility parameters, which is what I was after. But I was able to restore my fertility parameters far higher than I was able to, or far higher than I expected. And now Trenbolone is on the menu. Yeah, but let me do my TRT protocol first. Let me get this Trenbolone acetate out of my system that I shot on Tuesday. And let's see. And then I'll do, when did I start? On Monday the 8th. Yeah, so now we're 2 weeks in, already up 2 kilos and leaner, epicness. So I'll do blood work on, let's say, I think Sunday the 12th. And then maybe throw in a little bit of mint, man. Or maybe you throw in mint and tren. Now, one adjustment at a time. But yeah, after that mint deep dive video, I realized that I would like to try it. Yeah, I would like to try a little bit of mint. Yeah. Because I froze so much semen that my wife can do IVF until the end of time. Yeah, it cost me a fortune, but that's what it is, you know. And parts. Damn, Steve's arms already look upgraded than they were beforehand. Yeah, it's so funny. Like walking around in the muscle factory, right? There's so many new faces, and they only know me off cycle. So they're like, I have this guy walking around the gym. He looks pretty good, but he's not big. And now it started. And then you see these guys look at me, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Every day I'm bigger, fuller, and rounder. It's so much fun. Yeah, it's so much fun. I remember when I came back from traveling for a year through Southeast Asia. I was backpacking. I went all over Southeast Asia. I went to Macau, Hong Kong, China, Mongolia. I had 50 weeks. I looked skinny fat as fuck. I looked horrible. And then I went to the gym. I did one cycle beforehand, but I trained for like 11 years natural. I did one cycle and I left to travel. So I lost all my gains. I got skinny fat. Lower back was like this chunky. It was disgusting. And I went back to the gym and then, you start curling and stuff. And some random dude came up to me, never seen me before because I've been gone for a year. He's like, no, that's not how you curl. You should curl like this. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. Okay, I'll curl like that. And then a month later or something, of course, I started my cycle right away. A month later, he looks at me and it's like, what the hell are you doing? I said, dude, I used to bodybuild for a very long time, but I traveled for a year. So, but thanks for your advice. And then a month later, or 2 months later, or 3 months into my cycle, the guy's like, what the fuck? I went from like 74 kilos to 100 kilos. Complete transformation. It was great. Yeah, it was good, man. So it's been 2 weeks. I got a end goal of end of May. Yeah. Why is this Windows 11 so obnoxious? Is this Windows 11? I didn't even know what Windows this is. I should switch to Linux. When is the first wedding? Oh yeah, 1st of June. So I got how many weeks left to mutate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 weeks to mutate. Well, good things are on the way. All right. Some more super chats. Brett Locks. Hey, Steve, on 250 milligrams cypionate per week, wanting to move to 375, 400. Estradiol was 75 last blood draw, and a recommendation for an AI protocol. 125 milligrams testosterone cypionate Monday, Wednesday, Friday, plus 12.5 milligrams Aromasin Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think that will bring your estradiol down to 40, 45. Yeah, but obviously your serum testosterone levels are going to go up. Do blood work 4 weeks, 6 weeks into that protocol to confirm. Can steps replace cardio in terms of fat loss? Yeah, in the end, it just matters how much fat you burn. So if you do, let's say, 30 minutes dedicated cardio at some sort of moderate intensity with an elevated heart rate of 135 beats per minute, but you walk for 2 hours, slow and steadily, just getting your steps in, I think that's equally as effective. In the end, it matters how much fat you burn, right? So this is why I walk in between sets at the gym, because it's an extra free cardio session that I get in while at the gym anyway, on top of the fasted cardio that I do every morning, you know. But my body fat levels is just stubborn to go down. And when you look at my family, everybody's just fat as fuck. I'm really struggling to keep the body fat off. Um, you know, it's just my metabolism. I can grow like a weed, dude, but staying lean is just a nightmare. So the leanest I always got is when I did 2 hours of cardio per day. You know, just walking around the lake close to my house in the morning and in the evening. In the evening would be shirtless. Yeah, good times, especially when you're in shape. Get phone numbers. Too lazy to fuck though. All I wanted was cake and apple pie. Yeah. Send the semen to the apocalypse bunker where they save the seeds. There's this big seed bunker in Norway, right? Norway seed bank, seed storage. Yeah, this Svalbard Global Seed Vault. I'll link the Wikipedia page. Looks like the line that they're building in one of one of the Arabic countries. That eludes me now. Yeah, we're going to build a 600-kilometer line, and now they reduced it to what, 200 meters or something. I don't know, because money. Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Yeah, maybe I've just started my cycle and added in some trends, so I should still be good for 2 months. Maybe I should make a donation over the next 2 months. Yeah, just somewhere in the corner there. Which movie was that where they have the face huggers? Uh, it was David, right? In one of the alien movies where he puts the face hugger embryos next to the human embryos, and then the movie's over. That would be me. That's a weird looking semen sample. See, this is why I'm back on testosterone. Your mood is like infinitely better, dude. Um, Realtor. I'm 35, natural. Get out of here. Never taken anything. My testosterone was 280 to 370 10 years ago. Now 400, 450 with Tonkat Ali. Okay, that's good. You increased it, and you're 10 years older. I currently struggle with recurrent depression and anxiety. Do you think TRT will help me? It's more likely, well, as you can notice from my mood, it's more likely than the TRT will help you than an SSRI. But I'll tell you firsthand, TRT and a low dose of an SSRI, fucking bliss, dude. That shit is fucking bliss. I'm not gonna lie. People are always like, oh, SSRIs is terrible. No, man. If you know how to slowly build it up and you find an SSRI that matches your brain chemistry, it is fucking bliss. But start with testosterone first. 35 natural, testosterone levels 450. If you struggle with recurrent depression and anxiety, maybe try HCG monotherapy first, because both TRT and HCG monotherapy can actually increase anxiety levels in some people. But with TRT, you're making a commitment, right? Because it comes up and it comes down because of the ester and the injection depot. But with HCG monotherapy, you can basically stop cold turkey and your HPTA will come back a week later. So let me write down the HCG monotherapy protocol. Oh, try this before TRT. Give that one a watch. I think you'll like it. And then later on, look into an SSRI. Like SSRI have terrible libido issues, right? So I wouldn't run an SSRI without testosterone replacement therapy in place. But man, TRT and 50 milligrams fluvoxamine now. Oh man, life is good, dude. Life is good. Any tips for kind of mitigating the temporary glucose intolerance from switching from keto back to a carbohydrate diet? Put the glucose, the carbohydrates, post workout first, and then the second meal post workout, and then the third meal post workout, because this is when your insulin sensitivity is generally the highest. Don't take any carbs on your rest days. And then slowly start backlogging it. So let's say you do 3 meals, right? And between meal 3 and 4, you have your workout. The first 3 meals, you don't have any carbohydrates. Then post-workout meal 4, you have some fruit. Meal 5, you have some rice. And meal 6, you have some sweet potatoes in maybe 30 to 50 grams per serving. This is what I do. I have about 70 grams. Well, I'm big, right? So I can have a little bit more. I have about 70 grams of carbs from fruit post-workout. And then about 50, 60 grams of carbs from rice with my last meal of the day. And the next day, I'm back into ketosis. I'm cognitive. I can function properly. But I wanted to increase my metabolism for this upcoming cycle, which I now did. So I was eating about, 3,300, 3,500 calories, and I've reduced that a little bit by reducing my fat intake. But I'm still in ketogenic state when I wake up. No loss of insulin sensitivity. Why are the ebooks going away? Because I don't have time to update them. And if I do update them, then people will just copy them on Reddit. So it's pointless to make more ebooks. And they're outdated. You know, they're kind of outdated. They're from 2020, so they're 4 years old. And I realized in some of the newer videos, there's some updated information. I mean, the core information is still fucking good. It's better than you would find in most places. But updating is just not worth my time, knowing that people will copy the shit out of my ebooks. And I'm basically spending, let's say I really go ham, and I need about 1 or 2 weeks to really update every ebook with citations and stuff. And the amount of revenue that I make in 2 weeks, or that I would lose, it's just not financially realistic. Sorry to say it, but with the amount of copying that people do, it's just not realistic. So I'm going to take them offline. There's a big fat discount for 25% in case you still want them, but the end of April they're gone. And then if you still want them, well, that's what Reddit is for, right? These assholes will just copy your shit. So then if you do feel that it was beneficial, then leave a donation, which most people don't do. I put it right there in the first page. If you got this ebook for free, I get it. And I get my shit from Netflix for free also. But if you find it to be worth it and you get great results and it was beneficial to you, feel free to leave a donation. I have not, to this fucking day, got a donation for anybody that copied my ebook for free. And probably because it was not helpful. Maybe that's why. Maybe it was just a shit ebook. I don't know, man. But I make way more with consultations and way more with affiliate sales by just making videos. So I make way more. No, that's not true. I make more with the ebooks than I do with the Vigorous Q&A. But yeah, it's a pay cut that I'm willing to undergo because I simply don't have time to update them. And they're outdated, so why take money? I mean, the amount of money that I made from the ebooks is pretty good. So it's just... it's okay to discontinue certain revenue streams, especially now that Bitcoin is pretty fucking good. What is your caloric intake and how big of a surplus? It was 3,300 or 3,500. How much of a surplus that is, I don't know. I don't calculate. I just track my food and my micronutrients, and then I make adjustments to the meals. And then sometimes I get bigger and sometimes I get leaner. But surplus, I mean, I don't believe in calories. You guys know this. Opinions on mixing generic GH and pharma. Looking at running 1-to-1 at a decent dose over the summer if I can tolerate it all, of course. Sure, if you want to save some money that way. But if you find good generics that have same potency, same purity as pharma, but are significantly cheaper, why run pharma? Save the money for pharma during the contest prep. Right? I mean, there's good generics out there. I mentioned that in the GH versus pharmaceutical video, which I just released. Generic. Which growth hormone is best? I mean, there's some pretty good generics out there nowadays, man. So why run 1-to-1 if you have good generics? But if the side effects are bad because of the impurities, then 4 I use generics and 4 I use pharma 1-to-1, like you just suggested. All right, guys, we're going to go for another 20 minutes, and then I'm going to throw in the towel because I am fucking exhausted. Last week, I heard you state that carnitine and an angiotensin receptor blocker like telmisartan should not be taken together. I'm currently doing that. Can you explain why? Well, both reduce blood pressure. If your blood pressure is still in range and you didn't die yet, so that's good news. But like for the guys that asked me about blood pressure management and they want a suggestion, there's multiple things you can look into: magnesium, carnitine, beetroot extract, telmisartan, bivolol, Cialis. Right? There's many a way. So add in one at a time. Right? But I was running Nebivolol and telmisartan when I was saucing my ass off, but I added in one at a time and I checked my serum potassium levels. I go through this step-by-step process. You add in a compound, you assess what it's doing to your body, and if you want additional blood pressure management or reduction of heart rate, then you might need to add in another compound, do blood work again, see how it's changing, maybe reduce your potassium intake. Right, so it's a step-by-step process. If you started taking carnitine and telmisartan at the same time, that is a bit irresponsible, but you're still here, so you can't take it back. You clearly didn't faint because your blood pressure was too low. All right, question is here. Hey, Steve, I was on TRT 125 milligrams a week for 6 months. The doctor stopped prescribing, had to stop cold turkey because I cannot tolerate Clomid. Yeah, it's a shit compound. LH and FSH has recovered. Should I still add HCG or can I add HCG for balls to recover faster? LH and FSH have recovered. So no, then you don't need HCG because your LH and FSH is already stimulating your testosterone production. But in this kind of cases where your doctor stopped prescribing, you find another doctor or you start self-prescribing. You don't have to rely on the medical field to take matters into your own hands. If one of these male practitioners are not giving you what you feel you need or want, do it yourself. Do it yourself. Yeah, but the rules, fuck the rules. Seriously, fuck the rules, man. These guys don't care about your physical and mental well-being. So you have to take life into your own hands, man. If you want to try HCG monotherapy, go for it. But if your LH and FSH levels have recovered and your testosterone levels are good, then it's fine. And otherwise, go on TRT and HCG, and then you know, you'd feel better also. Word of cigars. Here we go again. Thanks for answering my questions. You rock. I owe you a nice Monte Cristo. Dude, Monte Cristo is not a cigar that I smoke. Bro. Cohibas, man. Cohibas or Padrones. No, Monte Cristo is nice also. They have some good ones. I just put in another order at my favorite cigar place in Holland, and my mom is going to send them over. I'm going to get some Cohibas Siglo 4s and Maduro number 5s. Hopefully they have the long ones. And then, man, for all the weddings that and travel obligations that I have, I'm going to smoke some serious shit. Yeah. Which one was a good Monte Cristo? Monte Cristo. And don't buy them in Bangkok, man. This shit is overpriced. Like, it's like 300% of what they should be. So if you just bring them in. All the cigar lounges here, they just let you smoke, no problem. Or they might have a, you know, a corkage fee, just like they have for wine. Can't find Monte Cristo. And there's so many cigars. I just asked my cigar guy to send me the good stuff, and they're never wrong until I see the bill, and then I'm like, oh fuck, should have given them a budget. I think it was Prometheus. Yeah, that was the ending scene of Prometheus where they put the face hugger with the rest of the embryos. Man, how far behind are we? 10 minutes. All right. Michael Waters, question for my $50 super checks a few weeks back. All right. I'll take your word for it. How comfortable can I live in Thailand for $3,000 a month? Serious wanting to make the move. $3,000 a month is about 100,000 baht. Let me confirm that. I mean, the baht is pretty weak next to the US dollar. So 3,000 a month. Oh, that's 110, 500 baht. So let's say 110,000 baht. You can live like a fucking king, dude. You can live like a fucking king. Just don't get an expensive girlfriend. Right? Michael Waters, based on your picture, you look pretty good. So you don't have to go with one of these farm girls from the countryside that has 5 sick buffaloes and a sick uncle that you need to take financial care of. Your money will go a very long way if you get a nice girlfriend or a multitude of different girlfriends that are not financially draining. Yes, you're still in a third world country, and 99% of the women here are with you for your money. It's just that simple. So find a woman that makes her own money, like I did. My wife was making a boatload of money by herself by personal training and giving private tutoring for math. So she never was a financial drain on me, and this is why we're still together. I mean, I showed her how to make more money, and now she really does well. So with 300,000 or with 100,000 baht by yourself, you can go out, you can go to the gym, you can buy your steroids, you can go out a couple dinners over the month. You can travel to Pattaya or Phuket or Chiang Mai, even though there lives a giant asshole in Chiang Mai, so don't go there. Waste of time. Chiang Rai is nice. You can rent a motorbike. You can buy a good high-quality food at Villa Market and Gourmet Market, not at Tesco or at Big C, where the food quality is just a little bit lower. Right? So, dude, you can buy everything you want, and you will never want to go back. Then it's up to you to bring your expense or to bring your money or disposable income up to 5,000. Once you have $10,000 a month, game over, dude. If you have $10,000 per month, I can't finish it. I can't finish $10,000 a month. I can't do it unless you do stupid shit. But it's yeah. With 3,000, you can live great, man. If you have the next 12 months, $3,000 a month, fly in ASAP. Fly in tomorrow. Mohammed, when should you take Humalog as a pre-workout? I mean, 20 to 30 minutes before, less or more? Yeah, I would say 30 minutes. So, it depends on if you have your pre-workout meal or a meal, let's say 2.5 hours before your workout, because otherwise you feel too full. So you have a pre-workout meal, let's say 2.5 hours before, and then an intra-workout shake. In that case, I would take your Humalog about an hour before. But if you eat, a little bit before you go to the gym, then I would just take your Humalog directly after the meal, right? So it depends on when you have your pre-workout meal and if you have an intra-workout shake. Yeah. Divian, super sticker. All right. Any more questions, or are you happy with the answer? I guess he's happy with the answer. All right. What is this? Yaya Dugnoko. Hey, coach, my urologist prescribed enclomiphene for the first step of low testosterone, and they gave me severe depression and anxiety. Yeah, I stopped it, but do you have any additional information, things to help me in the short term? Well, unfortunately, enclomiphene might take a while to kind of metabolize from your body. It has Clomid has a 45-day detection time, so it might take some time. I would talk to your urologist and say, listen, this shit clearly didn't work for me. Give me HCG monotherapy or actual exogenous testosterone. That will give you over the severe anxiety and the depression quite fast, albeit that exogenous testosterone and anxiety and HCG can worsen pre-existing anxiety. So again, discuss this and see what's the most logical next step for you is going to be. And in short-term anxiety and depression, I mean, maybe watch the Entrepreneur Deep Dive video series. Maybe you have a neurotransmitter imbalance. But again, it really depends. Maybe you need serotonin. Maybe you need through 5-HTP or tryptophan supplementation. Maybe maybe your dopamine levels are too low, right? But just speculating here, but give that entrepreneur deep dive video series a watch, because I always feel that a happy brain is a productive brain. So that's why I went into the neurotransmitters. Unfortunately, didn't really get so many views. So we're doing the steroid videos again. Hey Steve, why is telmisartan angiotensin 2 blocker the superior choice? It's not the superior choice, but it's the most popular choice. Yeah, it's the most popular choice. There is a study comparing all of the angiotensin receptor blockers. I think I had it bookmarked. No, I don't have it anymore. I mean, when you start comparing them, this is probably the best entry, but a lot of people, some people just don't get, sufficient blood pressure management, even at 80 milligrams telmisartan. So they might need to switch to valsartan or lisinopril or Cialis, right? Everybody's different. So I would say that telmisartan is probably the first one to try. But if it doesn't work, if you don't get sufficient blood pressure management, then look elsewhere. And this is why we have so many different medications. Vision Trombols. Are you using some sort of translation software? LH and FSH recovers, but not testosterone balls still small. Okay, well, running HCG for a month at IOS and IOS 3 times per week, as you suggested. Yes, it will suppress HPTA again. HCG monotherapy will suppress the HPTA. But if your balls are still small, then they will be able to bring your testicular size and your testosterone levels back up. But as soon as you stop the HCG, your LH and FSH levels need to recover, which might take a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks even. And then your testicles will still shrink, and then your serum testosterone levels will still be low. So it sounds to me that you're always going to be dependent on some sort of exogenous hormone, like I am. Right? It's just the nature of the game. I was dependent on HCG also. And that was able to bring my testosterone levels up. So either do HCG monotherapy 3 times per week until you can get another place for exogenous testosterone, and forget about recovery. Because if your LH and FSH levels have recovered, but your balls are still small and your testosterone levels are not sufficient, then your HPTA is just not working for what you want. And then you need HCG or testosterone or both. All right. No more super chats. All right. This is the last one. And no more super chats. Then I can close it off for today. No excuses. I'll keep your money. So we'll handle a couple more, and then it's out the door. Scum World Order. Hey, man. Best compounds to reduce obsessive compulsive disorder. Also T3 versus DNP. Obsessive compulsive disorder, I think SSRIs for that. I think fluvoxamine was the way to do that. But of course, fluvoxamine is a bit of a fluvoxamine OCD. Is that the one? Yeah, fluvoxamine is used to treat obsessive compulsive disorder. And vortioxetine. Vortioxetine. Don't even know how to prescribe it or spell it. Yeah, vortioxetine, also prescribed against obsessive compulsive disorder. But selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor are pretty brutal. And T3 versus DNP, I mean, I think you're asking in the wrong place. Let me link you a video if you want to know about fat loss. Which describes anything besides these two options. There you go. I have like an extreme 5-day fat loss protocol with fasting and like every drug that is known to induce lipolysis, but I didn't put T3 and DNP in there. Link down below. All right, next one. Maro Canuck. Do synthetic oils always cause CRP to increase, or can they manifest in other ways? My CRP is normal, but I feel arthritis and depression. From my experience, if you get a systemic inflammatory response from synthetic carrier oils, then C-reactive protein is always always elevated. But if it's not the oil, but some other contaminant, like heavy metals or some sort of bug, right, that you get an infection, then you might feel something else. Or arthritis and depression is related to low estradiol. So let's say you were on testosterone and you added in Primo or normasterone, and it brings your estradiol levels to abysmal levels. Then yes, you feel dry joints and arthritis symptoms and depression, because you need estradiol for normal joint lubrication, normal sense of well-being, and normal libido. So go in for blood work, as always, and see what's going on. Another one. Let's see. Is it always the oil? Can it cause other issues, something else like benzobenzoate, benzoalcohol? Yeah, that can cause. It's very rare, though, that people are allergic for benzobenzoate and benzoalcohol. That's why I rarely mention it, because I've seen it happen maybe once or twice in people that they're allergic to benzobenzoate or benzoalcohol. And that would also result in systemic inflammation. What you're describing sounds more like low estradiol symptoms than inflammation from something that you're injecting. Can fluvoxamine, maybe 25 to 50 milligrams, be beneficial for entrepreneurs? Yes, I think so. Because again, if you're a happy brain and you don't have to worry about the trivial bullshit, you just shift it out. Like, there's always stress, right, in life. And whether that's from the stock market or the news or just shit that happens when you're on YouTube or an entrepreneur, if you can put that shit aside and not waste any time on it, like, okay, it happened, you take affirmative action, you resolve it, and then it's out of your head. On an SSRI, I found that that's 10 times easier than without it. Now, I can still, like the last year when stressful situations comes up, I address it, I resolve it, and it's out of my head. But then sometimes later on, you're like, it kind of ruins your mood, and then it takes away from productivity. So now I don't have that at all. So now I can just go about my business. Yeah. And when you're as busy as I am, every fucking minute counts, man. As shitty as it sounds. West Coast Outdoors. Sounds like a place that you can rent jet skis and quad bikes. Yeah, for $20. In Thailand, you can rent a quad bike for $20. Yeah, but maybe not in the US. I'm on TRT farm grade. My total testosterone is 750. Man, that's lower than I was on HCG monotherapy. Free is 9.2, bottom of the reference range. 6 drive is low, injecting 0.2 milliliters twice a week. Any suggestions to help raise my free T testosterone and 6 drive? Haven't checked my SHBG. Diet is low carbs. Okay, so you would qualify for 6.25 milligrams per Viron once or twice per day. And I don't know what your SHBG is, but maybe give that a try. For 2 weeks, 6.25 milligrams per Viron upon waking every single day. And if that's not sufficient, if your libido improved a little bit, but not to the point that you want, 6.25 milligrams per Viron morning and evening, give that another 2 weeks, and then go in for blood work to see where your total testosterone, estradiol, SHBG, and lipid levels, because it's extra steroids, so lipids will skew, are at. Right? And of course, if you follow a low-carb diet and you're in a caloric restrictive state, I mean, how good is your libido going to be? Right? Your libido can be phenomenal on a low-carb diet if you're on train, which I did notice this week. Excuse me, after putting some train in the picture for the Trenbolone deep dive. Can't talk about train while not running train, right? So my libido has been fucking insane the last week. Yeah. All right. These fuckers. Last one. Due to the longer ester of DECA compared to testosterone cypionate, how to reduce doses when returning to cruise so DECA is never over half the dose of testosterone. 12 weeks. Yeah, 12 weeks. All right. I'm going to throw in a towel. It's been very, very long. The Trenbolone deep dive, I think it's edited up until 50 minutes or so. I recorded maybe 25 minutes of footage today or 30 minutes of footage. So that I think the final file will be like an hour, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes. The longest deep dive I've posted on my channel, longer than the halotestin deep dive or the myostatin deep dive. Now, Luke, we're done. We're done with the super chats. I already warned you guys. Fuck, it's just never ending. Here, let me put it on the screen so you guys know. No more super chats. Ask me next week. So this is the longest deep dive ever, longer than the halotestin video and longer than the mitochondrial support stack deep dive. I reviewed over 600 papers for you guys. So when that video drops, fucking promise me that you're going to watch it, because I need the fucking views. For the amount of time and money and effort that I spent on this video, I need the fucking views. So I want to see 25,000 views within a week. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to slap you guys and not do any more deep dives, maybe once a month. All right, I'm just going to go back to easy videos. So, yeah. So, that's it for this week. I'm dead fucking tired. Yeah, share it on Reddit. Yeah, that will get fucking views. That will get views. So, share it on Reddit. Share it with your friends. Share it with your mom. Share it with the Trenbolone cattle that you, pass on the way to the gym. Because everybody needs some love. And yes, I made some new anabolic to androgenic ratings based on all of the Hirschberger bioassays. They're available. Okay, let's quickly review what we discussed. 25% off the eBooks. Please report that Instagram account that I linked down below, because they're using my pictures to promote dick pills. And I'm no way affiliated with this company. They already blocked me. I already asked them politely to remove my pictures, which I didn't. So now I mobilized the Vigorous crew, report these fuckers, and get them off Instagram, because I already tried it the nice way. And everything else that I linked is down below. The deep dive dihydroboldenone video I'll record next week. And then we'll probably do the MMA stack, because you guys are kindly asking about it in every single video, it appears. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next weekend. Peace out, and enjoy your weekend, man. Next week will be another Vigorous Q&A.